What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Boo Bros. I'm Scott from SoCalExploring.
And I'm Rob with the Howling Hour.
Today we have a Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood speculation coming from our good friends HNNightmares on Twitter. They recently released their speculation map. And, you know, I would say, Rob, that they're pretty accurate on some of these speculations, right?
Yeah, I mean, every year I would say they're in the 90th percentile of what they get right. So I feel like they're pretty reliable.
Yeah, they are. And this is like I've said in my live stream, like this is essentially like an HHN announcement. Like whenever they put out a map, it's almost like the whole community thinks it's like a Halloween Horror Nights announcement. So it's exciting. It's got everybody buzzing and everybody talking about it. And we want to talk about the very minimal HHN Hollywood speculation map. We'll talk about the HHN Orlando one. We'll reference it, but we're not going to talk about it. That'll be for another Boo Bros video or another Boo Bro podcast. So, before we get into that, Rob, where can they find our social media at?
Well, they can find us on Instagram at Boo Bros. Also on YouTube at Boo Bros. That's kind of where we're all teamed up together, and you know, we put out speculations as far as HHN, other Halloween kind of themed events, horror themed events. And
if you guys want to check out our individual channels, the Howling Hour and SoCalExploring will be linked down below in the description. We're mainly like your Hollywood guys for Boo Bros. We also have John from the Hotline and Tony from the Nights of Horror, who couldn't be here today, and Sammy. Can't forget about Sammy either.
Yeah.
But you know, Rob was quick to do this with me, so we're here gonna speculate some stuff and talk about HHN Hollywood. Before, I just want to reference that these are just speculation. None of this is official. It's just speculation. It's just exciting to talk about because usually, like we said, HNNightmares is pretty darn accurate.
Well, once again, speculation. So I'm just taking that as it is. But I woke up this morning and I was super excited to see the news that kind of flooded my Instagram and my Twitter. So, I mean, we didn't get anything last year as far as main, you know, kind of big events, especially from HHN Hollywood. So I'm just right now, I'm excited. I get hopeful still because this is not an official announcement, but it gives me hope that something is in the works because, you know, we got these, I believe it's two mazes and then a gauntlet. So
two mazes and a gauntlet.
Two mazes and a gauntlet. So I'm excited for that, and I cannot wait to see where we go from here.
It is exciting. So right now the speculation map as it stands is Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the Mummy queue, and Halloween 3 Season of the Witch in the Waterworld queue, as well as a Gauntlet Scare Zone. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what a Gauntlet Scare Zone is, I believe it was in 2016. How long have you been going to Horror Nights, Rob?
Since, oh man, I'm old. Since 2010, actually.
2010? Okay, so you experienced the 2016 Purge Gauntlet.
Yes, it was awesome.
So the Purge Gauntlet was an extension to the Purge Election Year Scare Zone. And it's basically like how you'd see the Metro set scare zones now, where it's kind of formed in the shape of a maze, but it's not as enclosed as a maze would be. Would this be an IP or would it be a original?
You know what? Just right off the bat, when I seen it, you know, not hearing anything from anyone, just seeing Gauntlet, the first thing I thought of is The Walking Dead, because we were, you know, told last in 2009. It was early 2020.
Yeah.
2020 that we were going to get a Walking Dead maze. Obviously, that didn't happen. But as soon as I seen Gauntlet, I thought that would be, if they're not going to give the Walking Dead a full-on maze, I think that would be a perfect spot for it because similar to what they did with the Purge, I feel like you can do the same thing with the Walking Dead in that area, and there's good spots as far as for, you know, scares where you're not too close to people, because again, we don't know what the scaring is going to be like, how they're going to scare us, how far they're going to be away. The characters need to be away from us. So I think that's just kind of a good spot to put something like The Walking Dead in there.
I would have to agree with you on that. I think that The Walking Dead would be perfect for it. And, you know, like you said, we don't know what the CDC advisory is going to be, if it's going to be 6 feet, if it's going to be 3 feet. They're kind of toying around with that right now. But as far as California goes, we're in a lot deeper of the water than most states in the country right now. So I think that we're going to have the most restrictive haunt events. And with The Walking Dead comes slow-moving zombies, as we all know. So what better way to make social distancing effective than with slow-moving zombies? Because they don't need to jump up in your face. They can just kind of slowly walk towards you and scare you, but they don't need to get right near you. Yeah, they can have big, loud scares where they're banging on a fence or something, but they don't need to, per se, jump in your face. They can just be slowly walking and, still have that terrifying look to them. And who knows, maybe it could be an extension to the Walking Dead attraction if that comes back this year.
Just from what I feel, that it possibly will return. I'm like 75% on the fence as far as it returning, because they do have it's very simple for them to, I mean, not simple, but just they have all the stuff there, so they can bring it out, they can put it wherever they need. It's not something where they need to get permission or they need to go find
sign
the stuff,
a contract or something like that.
They've already had the property, so if they're going to do the Gauntlet, I feel like they can put a maze in there as well. So I'm like right about 75% that The Walking Dead will return this year.
Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, speculated to come to the Waterworld queue. The maze is still up. I would say this is about a 75% chance of happening, and man oh man, will I be excited if Halloween 3 comes. That is a property that I want to see. I was so bummed when they skipped from Halloween 2 to Halloween 4, and they just completely skipped over Halloween 3. I think just because there's no Michael Myers doesn't mean that there can't be a Halloween maze. Like, there can be a Halloween maze without Michael Myers, and there could be some original spin-off that Murdy does to somehow incorporate Michael Myers into that maze. Maybe we see him here and there, or maybe we see like an Easter egg of him somewhere, some type of original spin-off that Murdy can do.
This movie is a good movie. Yes, no Michael Myers, but that does not take away the scare factor that this movie could bring to a maze. I think maybe they were holding off on it or didn't want to bring it so soon. Maybe they didn't think people knew about it, but us in the horror community, and especially Halloween fans, we know about this movie. I feel like a lot of us were kind of craving a maze based off this movie, because it is something different other than your typical Michael Myers Halloween kind of maze. Don't get me wrong,
or slasher or stuff like that.
Yes, we love our slashers, we love Michael Myers, but this would have been a way to bring a property name that people know, but something different, and something Murdy could have put his own take on Halloween 3. So I hope that it is coming.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's huge potential for a Halloween 3 maze coming to Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood this year. I mean, think of the merch, man. Think of the merch, the trailer, everything. Just imagine like a silver shamrock everywhere. It'd be wonderful. Like, I would love it so much. Another property, which is coincidentally the second property on the speculation map, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I'm a huge fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love the movies. I think it's a good, solid movie, and I've had nothing but praises for the mazes that they've brought to HHN. My favorite one being, I think it was probably the latest one, was the Blood Brothers, which was kind of a take on Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. So again, this is one of your slasher icons who, everyone, you're always going to get a turnout because there are diehard Texas Chainsaw Massacre fans. So again, I hope it comes. I think this is a good, solid maze, and they've done it before, so I know they can bring it and they can do it good if it comes to this year's HHN.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre has been a property that I've always enjoyed experiencing at HHN. And I think that, like you mentioned, with Blood Brothers and how good they did that, I think that they can somehow do another original twist. I know I'm bringing up that a lot, an original twist, but after all, that's what Hollywood's good at. We don't do original mazes, but Murdy tends to like to do original twists with already existing IPs. Now, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, if it's the original one, I'll be fine with it. It's in a different location than we're used to. I think that would be great. And honestly, I would love to see Leatherface again. Anytime that these slashers come back, aside from Michael, because I wouldn't want them to continue like Halloween 6, Halloween 7, stuff like that. Anytime these slashers come back, whether it be Freddy or Jason or Leatherface, I am so excited to see. It makes me so happy. The fact that it's potential that we'll get a Texas Chainsaw Massacre maze again, I think will be great. I think they'll do it great. I think that they have the props that they can reuse and still construct to fit that specific location. And the Mummy location is a pretty long maze location. So yes. I think that Texas Chainsaw Massacre would be a long maze. Now, we don't know if that's going to be long per se with black walls, But you gotta think, if they're planning to put it in the Mummy location, then they gotta think that they're gonna add something else that would make Texas Chainsaw Massacre unique. Whether it be one of the remakes from the more recent years, or whether it be something along the lines of like Blood Brothers like we saw in 2016. Who knows? I think that there's a huge potential for Texas Chainsaw Massacre not to be just the original movie, and instead be a combination of different Leatherface incarnations. We all know that Orlando announced Beetlejuice, and I don't know if you saw this, Rob, but there are tags from the Beetlejuice merch that they recently released in Orlando that say USJ/USH, which of course would mean Universal Studios. I said USJ. My bad, guys. Not Universal Studios Japan. Universal Studios Florida and Universal Studios Hollywood on the merch of the tags of the Beetlejuice merchandise. Does that mean anything, Rob?
Well, it could go one or two ways. As if I use just, my regular brain, I'm like, well, you know what? They're probably selling merch at, Hollywood and Florida. But my HHN brain says, hey, that probably means we're getting a Beetlejuice maze. Now, how likely is that to happen? Who knows? But I think, being is that they already announced it over there, I think it's a good shot that it comes over here. Again, especially if they're going to be selling merch over here.
Here's one thing that I want to throw out there. If they're going to do an HHN light this year, obviously they want to most likely keep it in the upper lot and the lower lot and not extend into the back lot. There's 2 locations open in the lower lot. And you may be asking yourself, 2 locations? Are you sure about that? Because Texas Chainsaw Massacre has already taken up Mummy. Yes, 2. There's the former Jurassic Park location that I think would suit the Beetlejuice maze perfectly. Now, obviously, they can do it in a house or in a soundstage, I'm sorry. But what would be the restrictions there with the queue space because of Super Nintendo World? I think that they would do greatly putting a Beetlejuice maze in the Jurassic Park queue.
Just with Nintendo World, all their stuff going on, as far as, space and where you can put people and where you can line people up, that's a little restrictive. I could see if Nintendo World was already, it was not there or, done, and they kind of had a more set idea. But I think putting it back over there in the Jurassic Park queue gives you more room to space people out. And it kind of, because you have to think about that too. Sometimes we just think like, oh, well, they could put a maze here, they could put a maze there, but they also have to think, where are we going to put these people in line? So I think the Jurassic Park queue is a long queue. It's a very large queue, so they can put people there. And I don't think it would be a really big issue as far as, socially distancing people.
And yes, we know it's called Jurassic World, the ride. It's just that we had Jurassic Park, the ride. No, I was saying it too, so you're all good. I mean, I will forever reference it to Jurassic Park, the ride, because I miss Jurassic Park, the ride. Jurassic World's good and all, but JP all the way, am I right?
Yes.
But the JPQ is what house those Horror Nights mazes. So until they do a maze in the Jurassic World queue, then we'll start referring to it as the JW queue. But as for today's episode of Boo Bros HHN Speculation, that does it. My name is Scott from SoCalExploring.
I am Rob from the Howling Hour.
And if you guys are new here, consider subscribing down below with those bell notifications on, and leave this video a like if you enjoyed it, because it helps out our channel a whole lot. I think right now, as of the recording of this episode, we are like 12 subs away from 200 subscribers, and we just hit 100 subscribers like what, a week and a half ago?
About a week and a half ago, yeah.
Yeah, so huge thank you guys. You guys all rock. Thank you for all the new subscribers and all of our supporters. We'll catch you guys in the next one, everybody. And from me and Rob, stay spooky, everybody.